liberty. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat with Boyle with you as always. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on track. Hope you had a great weekend. It was certainly a nice one and plenty to do. Lots going on. Indiana in the NCAA baseball tournament. Man, what a fireworks finish that thing came to down in Louisville. If you haven't heard or weren't paying attention, you missed it a lot. We'll get to that. We'll hear from Coach Mercer. We'll hear from Drew Ashley. We'll hear from Matt Lloyd. We'll also hear from Trey Galloway and Anthony Leal, two IU recruits in action yesterday as the Indiana Jr Allstars took on Kentucky in a losing effort down in Louisville. Went straight from the baseball game to the All-Star game. Saw the second half of the game. We'll talk about all that as well. Feel free to hit us up on the text line if you're listening live. 812-269-6367. I always forget that so many people listen that's not live. But, man, what an electric finish for the Indiana baseball team. They start off Friday afternoon, by losing their opening game, a close one that they lost by one run that they kind of gave away. And then they come back and win, and then they have to face Louisville in an elimination game yesterday, which Louisville was looking at the same fate. A game that looked like it was blown open, which it was blown open early. Louisville had a pretty good lead, 7-2. Then they added more, and then Indiana started chipping away. And then the next thing you know, Jed's a millionaire. Just like when they played back in Bloomington, Indiana spotted Louisville to a 6-run lead before they came back and tied that game, forcing extra innings. Not to be this time, but my gosh, what a finish. If you, for some reason, don't know, we're in the 9th inning. It's a 2-2 count. And the Louisville pitcher doesn't get a strike call. And McIlvain, I think was his name. And he's actually from Indianapolis. Went to Cathedral High School, ironically enough. Doesn't get the call and just says, that's horrible. The umpire instantly tosses him. 9th inning, folks. One strike away from the game being over. And Louisville's pitcher gets tossed for simply saying that's terrible. No warning. Louisville coach Dan McDonald said he should have gotten a warning. He'd like for him to gotten a warning because now, well, I'll get to that part of the story. Well, then, so Louisville has to bring in another pitcher, which they do. He promptly throws a curveball that missed low and outside and looked like it potentially may have bounced. Either way, it was not close to being a strike, but yet it is called strike 3. As Ryan Feynman was already headed towards first, and then things kind of broke loose. Coach Casey Dykes charged down from first base, slammed his helmet on the ground, upset. Teams eventually had to be separated because there was words exchanged. The heated moment, man. I mean, I don't put a blame on that for anybody except for the home plate umpire. He's responsible for all of it. Umpiring's a tough job, man. Refereeing's a tough job. Officiating's a tough job. But you've got to be capable of doing the job. We'll hear from Coach Mercer as he talked about it in depth in his post-game comments that, they've got a job to do. I've got a job to do. They get paid to do their job. I get paid to do my job, and I'm held accountable. Who holds these guys accountable? They escape scot-free. And to my knowledge, that umpire was working the game later. But it was quite the sequence as order was restored and Louisville, nothing changed the outcome. Louisville won the game 9-7. But it was certainly a man, you'd like to have seen what had happened. If Feynman gets on, the lead run is then at the plate for Indiana. And if we have seen many times throughout the season, it ain't over till it's over with this team. But I'd like to have seen the opportunity. Nothing. The very next batter may have hit a ground ball, and that's it. Who knows? But who knows? Texas A&M won in grand fashion with a grand slam walk-off. Who's to say that couldn't happen by the team that has led the country in home runs most of the season? It would have been interesting to see, but it's a shame to see that game not be able to finish by the participants. Now, getting back to the backside of that story for U of L, McIlvain, their pitcher, he has to sit for 4 games now because of this. 4 games. That's the rule, and it's because pitcher. If it was a position player, it would probably be a 1-game suspension. But they tag pitchers with 4 games, thinking that they're in a rotation, so they have to miss that many games for them to actually miss a start. Which McIlvain's a reliever; he pitches all the time. He's like a position player. And that really hurts U of L, but not that I care or don't care, but it was just wrong. It was just wrong. But wow, what an interesting finish. Indiana baseball now has to look at what's next. Where do they go from here? They lose a few guys, but they've got the bulk of their team back. Things kind of went awry at the end of the season for them. Great year. They win the Big Ten championship, but as soon as after the sweep of Rutgers to win that Big Ten title, they lose 4 out of their next 5 games, all in the postseason. 0-2 at the Big Ten tournament, and then 1-2 in Louisville. They win all the games, but the thing is, that game against Illinois State, they gave it away by fielding not errors, but mistakes. Throws going to third base or home instead of going to second to prevent a runner from moving forward, which eventually was scored. That happened a couple times. Coach Mercer pointed that out. They made a lot of those mistakes. They did it again yesterday. And those little things cost you ball games. If you ever watched the movie Moneyball, all they cared about was generating runs. That's the whole deal behind the analytics, generating runs. If you allow the other team to generate runs because of your mistakes, it's going to cost you ball games, and it cost Indiana some games this year. But there's other things. They have to upgrade. As good as the season they had, they've got to get better talent. They've got to be able to toe the line, as Coach Mercer said, athlete for athlete, pitcher for pitcher. They're not there yet. Joker texted and asked, was that TV Teddy behind the plate yesterday? Good analogy, because it was about pretty close to that. Pretty close to that. But that text got me off my subject. What was I talking about, Jake?
Giving up runs.
Yes, there we go. Thank you. Man doesn't say much, but when he does, it's right to the point.
How you gotta be, man.
Hey, I hear ya. That's a line from "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" But yeah, generating runs is the whole premise behind the analytics and Moneyball. And I'm not sure that saying that that's what Coach Mercer's philosophy is based on, but he talks about all the little things, like preventing that from happening and it costing them. It being part of the reason it cost them the game against Illinois State. They gave up some unnecessary runs simply by making those mistakes. Happened again yesterday. It didn't seem like it was going to matter, but it did matter. So there's things to be cleaned up. I'm sure Casey Dykes is going to hear from somebody. I hope. I hope not. I mean, he didn't do anything, but they're gonna act like, oh, we can't have this unsportsmanlike conduct, yada yada yada. Forget the fact that everything that was on the line. And Dan McDonald said it best. He said, we've been out here since January 8th. There's a lot of emotion on that field for both sides. So they have a lot invested. And to have it just both sides to have it kind of coughed up by not just a bad call, but just really, really bad call preceded by bad judgment. Now you've potentially affected the NCAA baseball tournament. You've taken Louisville's closer out of their hands. What happens if they don't win now because of that? Which, they could have already lost. I didn't even check to see what happened last night. See if you can find that score, Jake, on the Louisville Southern or Illinois State game. Because they played again that evening. Excuse me. Louisville had to come back. That's another thing. Louisville had to come back and play again because they were in the losers bracket. And if they won, well, they have to play again today. You can find it at NCAA.com, I'm sure. Chris Lemonis' team is moving on, Mississippi State. Tracy Smith is not, as they were knocked out. You not find that yet? Shouldn't be that difficult to find. We got to take a break anyway. We're going to, like I said, we've got a lot to hear about today. Jeff Mercer, we'll hear from Jeff from the press conference yesterday. I'm talking about the game. We'll hear from Drew Ashley, Matt Lloyd. Indiana Jr Allstars were in action yesterday, too. We're going to talk about that. We'll hear from Anthony Leal. We'll hear from Trey Galloway talking about the recruiting process right now. All that. And we'll also hear from Angel Escobedo, right? Indiana's wrestling coach, new wrestling coach. 16th ranked recruiting class in the country. Good things doing there. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Inside, it's such a feeling that my love I can hide, I can hide, I can hide. Yeah, you got that
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle with you here as always, Indiana Sports Beat, and now joined by our good friend Todd Leary. Todd, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm good. How are you this morning?
Great. How's your first full week back to being a Hoosier?
Man, it feels good being back in the home state, so I'm excited about it, and we had a good week here in Evansville, so everything, week one went down perfectly.
Well, the sun's shining. It's not raining today, so you must have brought something to the party.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. Sunshine just follows me around. You know that.
That's why they call you Mr. Sunshine.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I got a question in the show from Bobby. He had Two questions, actually. One was going back to the game after the Duke loss at the Final Four 92. The first conversation that you had with Coach Knight, how did it go? What did he say? And was that potential tying shot supposed to go to you?
Boy, he's digging deep into the archives early in the morning. But
I'm telling you, man.
You know, I only played in that last minute of that game, probably mostly because we needed points, we needed shooting right away, and we had guys that had fouled out. Obviously, a lot of Indiana fans remember that. But after the game, one-on-one conversation, Coach Knight just said, "Hey, let's build on that for next year. We have big plans for you. You'll be a big part of what we have going on for the next couple of years." And so that was just kind of, I don't know that there was a ton of conversation about actually what happened on the floor. It was just kind of what he does at the end of every year, and he kind of, talks to each player individually about what they expect out of them for the summer and the following year. So that part of it was fairly customary. He doesn't dwell too much on what has happened in the past when you can't change it. Obviously, if we had won the game, there might have been some different conversation, but we didn't. So, and as far as the final shot, none of the three shots prior to that were scheduled to go to me either. It just, if you saw when they touched my hand, they went up pretty quickly. So they didn't let me touch the last one because they know that thing was going up as fast as I could get it.
Trigger finger, baby. Quick trigger
No
finger.
doubt.
You know what? And it's funny. His other question is something that I was thinking about. It may have been yesterday. I think I don't know why it popped into my head, but it's kind of fortuitous. Norm Ellenberger. What were your thoughts on Norm Ellenberger? Man, I hadn't heard that name for a while.
Yeah, Norm was kind of like a buddy. He was one of those coaches that when you didn't understand why things were happening and the way things were going down, Norm was a guy you could kind of talk to a little bit, and it wouldn't go straight back to Coach Knight. It wouldn't. You could have a little bit more of a conversation with him rather than him being a true part of the coaching staff, which he definitely was. He was a good guy. He was a player's coach. I like Norm a lot. We had the place where I worked in the summertime. The owner of the company there at Steel Beard Electric, Gary Crum, he was real good buddies with Norm, and they continued their relationship way past when Norm left IU and all that. So I kind of kept up with Norm through my buddy Gary Crum, and it was a situation. Norm was just a good guy. He was one of those guys you needed on the staff, especially a Coach Knight staff, because he was just a guy that I think the players felt like they could talk to a little bit more.
That leads me to a question. How important was that to have with Coach Knight being the figure that he was? How important was it to have a Norm Ellenberger, someone you could talk to and have a little trust with, that it wasn't going to go back straight to Knight?
Yeah, no, it was extremely important, and it was, I think it's something that you're kind of putting your player, from a player's perspective, we understand what they're doing. They're kind of putting their job at risk, because that's not something Coach Knight would have thought was cool or would have thought was an integral part of success and all that. I mean, he would have, I just think he would have looked negatively on that situation, because he wanted to kind of be in control and have his hand on everything that was going on. But I think a lot of programs have those guys. They have the Norm Ellenbergers and the guys that players, I think, feel like they can trust a little bit more. And, Norm was definitely that guy for me. I'm not going to say everyone. It's not like we sat in the locker room and talked about, hey, you can talk to Norm about anything. He just kind of developed into that for me. He was assistant coach first, but he was also, 1B. He was a real good person, a sounding board, and a person that would give me pretty good advice.
It's camping season for most sports. Camps coming up all around. Basketball camps. Jordan Hulls has a basketball camp. Back in your day, Coach Knight had his camp. Archie Miller has his camp. What was it like as a player being a part of those camps?
Well, we didn't do that. When Coach Knight had his camps, none of the players worked the camps. So
really?
we never were a part of that. Now, I can tell you, I went to Bob Knight camp as a kid growing up, and that camp sucked. It was the hardest camp I've ever seen in my life. I went to 5-star camp. I went to some of the nationally known blue chip camps and some of those things, and they were easy. There was a lot of games, little drills here and there, but it was a lot of games and a lot of hanging out, stuff like that. Coach Knight's was the opposite. It was drills, twice a day, and then you would, get to play like a 15 or 20-minute game at night and things like that. Like, it was boot camp, and it never stopped me from going. I went year after year, but it was not your typical fun basketball camp. It was pure misery.
And having gone through that once, you'd have thought that you'd have had enough sense not to come back a second time, but that's another conversation.
There was one year, Jim, that I went 2 weeks in a row after I had already been for a couple of years and knew how miserable it was. That just tells you what a glutton for punishment I was.
Yeah, but that tells you the type of players that were then and now too, though. To be honest with you, I mean, someone that has that kind of work ethic, that kind of dedication, man, I don't know that they have that today. I don't know if those kids have that in them anymore, that to that level. I mean, you're not the only one, but that's a shining example of exactly what we talk about, the typical Indiana kind of kid that I'm sure that they're out there, but man, they sure have dwindled in numbers.
Yeah, and it's just there's a lot more things to do, I think, now for kids. I mean, back then, when I wasn't, the 2 weeks I didn't spend at Bob Knight Camp, I spent playing basketball at the gym or at the Y or open gyms and things like that. I mean, that's literally all I did. I wasn't, now growing up younger, I obviously played baseball and those things. And then when July came around, it was time for football. And so, I mean, I did those other things, but, basketball was my love and it's what I wanted to do. And I'm talking about it, 30 some years later, like it was a miserable experience. But believe me, I that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I'm the one who asked to go to camp 2 weeks in a row. And I'm the one that when I got home, that's pretty much all I did anyway. So, kids are definitely different now. I mean, I couldn't get my kids to go do that in a million years. Not a chance. They'd be there for 2 days and call me and tell me to come and get them. So, it's kids in general, but it's just kind of the way that things are nowadays. I mean, that you don't have to have that kind of thing. There's so many different options, and AAU has taken over so much. I mean, you don't have to be on, one of the top 2 AAU programs in order to play a whole bunch of games every year. Heck, there are so many teams. It's incredible. So kids just have different options and different opportunities now that we didn't have back then.
Coaching is something that I know you've messed with. You've done some of it, involvement in the AAU programs and things like that. But is that something that's ever been a pull for you?
It's something I wanted to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like that's probably one of the, if you ask me career wise, what would I do different? And everybody would answer those questions with things they would do differently. But I would have gotten into coaching right when I got out of school. It's after I finished at IU, I went and played overseas for 2 years. And at that point I was just basketball burnt out. Like I was ready to, settle down and start a family and get a real job. That was my 25-year-old, naive idiot thoughts going through my head at that point. If I could change anything, I would have definitely gotten back into coaching and gotten into, you've got to do so much grunt work for so many years. I mean, you don't just all of a sudden, most guys don't just all of a sudden say, hey, I'm going to be, an assistant coach at Michigan State. It doesn't work that way. You've got to work your way up through being a video coordinator and a manager, all different kinds of avenues you've got to go through in order to get to that coaching level. And I wasn't willing to do it at 25 years old. And once you get to 30, 35, it's too late pretty much at that point for you. So, that's a regret that I have. I wish I had gotten into coaching. I love it. I love working with the kids. I love seeing the teams get better. I think that was one of Coach Knight's big things. He loved watching his teams progress and get better and accomplish things that, maybe they didn't even know that they could accomplish. And that's probably coaching wise, one of the real benefits that comes out of it. And, I miss that. In AAU, I got to experience some of that, but, I'm not sure mentally I was in the right frame of mind coaching AAU wise too. I was that crazy screaming, and anybody that's ever watched me coach, in my first 6 or 7 years of coaching, they'll be like, yeah, that guy had no business coaching, because I was a nut job. But something happened and I kind of woke up a little bit. And so yeah, real long-winded answer to your question is, yeah, I wish I would have gotten into coaching way back when, but I didn't, and that's just the way life takes you.
Well, now you can help out your old buddy Pat Graham down there at Evansville Memorial as he is an assistant down there.
Yeah, I don't think Pat will be calling for my opinion all too often. Pat's done a great job with those guys. I've shown up down there to watch them, or not to watch them, but just to be around when they're when Pat's boys and some of the guys are out there working out. And they, Pat's a different guy also. I mean, Pat's different than he was at 23 or 24-year-old Pat. And, he's enjoying it. The kids are enjoying it. I think he's having fun with it. And I think their team's had a lot of success based on him being there.
You talk about having two certain iconic coaching molds for him to follow. He played high school ball for Joe Hinton, and then for college for Bob Knight. So he certainly had some good coaching experiences in front of him.
Good and a lot of yelling, so he was used to it. I'm sure. Coach Hinton was. I remember meeting him way back when we were in school, and he was a fiery dude. So that was that. I'm sure Pat never really had the nurturing type of coach outside of maybe in like the 4th or 5th grade. After that, he had the screamers the rest of his career.
Yeah, it was over. Joe Hinton, one of the most competitive people I've ever met in my life. Off the floor, he's like your grandpa. But on the floor, man, it's over. It's blood and guts. It's blood and guts. Did you follow now? A lot of athletes were multiple sports stars. Did you play baseball in high school?
I did. I played baseball all the way up till my senior year. After I got done with basketball, I just didn't. I had planned on some recruiting visits and things like that, so I wasn't going to be able to play. But I had played all the way up my first 3 years, and I played football my first 2 years of high school, I think. And then I just kind of had to make the decision. My knees were hurting a little bit more, and my ankles were hurting a little bit more, and I just kind of had to make that decision to stop and play basketball and stop playing football. Plus, I weighed like 135 pounds, so it isn't like the football team was really, really disappointed when Todd Leary decided he wasn't going to not go tackle anybody anymore.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of the multi-sport stars anymore, mainly because of the specialization and everybody focuses on a sport, man. I mean, my daughter plays soccer year round, and I would miss it. Luckily, I was in an era where everybody did everything, but I would miss it if I didn't get to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I loved baseball games when we were playing. I have trouble sitting there watching it for 3 hours when I'm not involved in it. But playing baseball, I loved it. I always, heck, I wanted to be the pitcher or the catcher because I wanted to be involved in every play. And so, I had no business being a catcher. My knees already hurt and everything at that point. But it was really the only other way to be involved in the plays almost every pitch. So, I do definitely miss watching my kids play. I definitely missed playing baseball and football and some of those other things. It just is. I think it helps you learn the different styles of coaching and how different coaches relate to their players and things like that. And the different sports kind of have coaches do that differently. And I think that's a good thing for kids to learn. But what you explained it exactly right. It's almost impossible now. You would have to be an unbelievable, you got to be like the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback that goes to Oklahoma that can also play baseball. You've got to be that good in order to be able to get away with playing both sports anymore. And it's so much more difficult to be an outstanding athlete playing more than one sport.
Well, Indiana's playing in the NCAA tournament. They begin today at 2:00 down in Louisville. Louisville is a top 7 team, but they won't play them until tomorrow if they win. But the NCAA tournament starts. Indiana's doing pretty well, man.
Yep. Well, they got Illinois State today. Is that who it is?
Yes, sir.
Yep. That'll be a good one. And, I know they were a little disappointed in the Big Ten tournament situation, but what an outstanding year they had. And I know you and I got to spend a little bit of time at a game down there one time, and I know you go to most of the games, but just a fun atmosphere. You can tell those guys enjoy playing and they like their coach, and they're gonna graduate and move on in life and remember an awesome sports experience at Indiana University. And that speaks a lot for the coach and the program and the school in general.
Yeah, a lot of speaking of the facilities,
all the facilities at Indiana are going through an upgrade, man. The locker room, I know you've seen the basketball locker rooms, but they're doing that pretty much to all the sports. Football locker rooms being redone right now, volleyball, wrestling, women's basketball. Everything's getting a fresh coat of paint and new lockers and the whole deal. How important that is that to players?
Well, it's awesome from a player's perspective to have that stuff. And yeah, that's all great. But most of that's recruiting. Most of that is involved in, you got to compete with the Joneses of the world. And in that situation, you've got to have the best facilities if you want to recruit the 3, 4, 5-star kids in there. And as a player, once you're there, I mean, you don't have a ton of say in it. So you don't really, you just hopefully have some of the benefits happen when you're there. But it's so important when it comes to, every player comes in there wanting to go to the NBA or the NFL or whatever it is. And when they have the facilities there that are so impressive and so awesome and all the technology and all the different things that you can do, and they can help you with your schoolwork and all the stuff that is available to you, it's all part of the recruiting process. And you have to have that if you're going to be one of the nationally ranked recruiting programs every year. You've got to have those facilities in there, and Indiana is, they've done a good job, I think, updating them over the years. Now they're getting to the point where they're creating facilities that other schools will come in and look at and replicate. So I think Indiana's getting on the front end of having some of the best facilities in the country right now.
Are you getting the golf game brushed up?
I am getting ready to play with Pat Graham today in a Evansville Memorial golf outing. So I'm sure Pat will let me know. I haven't hit a ball in probably 2 months, but I'm sure Pat will carry us through the day for a scramble victory out here.
Yeah, that's just something I can imagine right now. You two on the golf course, how well that goes.
Yeah, if the competitive juices will come out, I'm sure Pat will act like he doesn't care, but as soon as we get out there, we'll be trying to beat everybody. I can promise you.
Sounds good, brother. Hope you have a good day out there. Tell Pat we said hello.
I'll do it. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
We'll be back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Hope you've had a great weekend. Ready to get started on the week now. A lot went on over the weekend. Talked about it earlier. Indiana baseball, their season has come to a controversial close after a 9-7 loss to Louisville, in Louisville at the NCAA Regional there. Louisville jumped out to a big lead. They were up 7-2. Indiana just kept chipping away. And lo and behold, here the ninth inning, Ryan Feynman stands at the plate, the tying run. But that's when all the shenanigans broke loose. Coach Mercer talked about it afterwards. Let's hear what Coach had to say.
That last pitch and kind of how that all unfolded.
I don't know what was said between their pitcher and the umpire, and it's not my place to speak on what was said, what caused the immediate ejection, and that umpire will have to answer to that. But the reality, and you can look at the video. Like I'm a subdued guy. I'm pretty level-headed. Our first base, both of our base coaches are very level-headed, subdued guys. I mean, the pitch just bounced. So you can look at the video. I'm not saying something that's untrue or controversial, and it bounced. So when you have a game like this with obviously so much on the line, so much at stake, and you make a call like that to end guys' careers. Some of these guys in their baseball career period, and some of these guys in their college careers move on to the next level. It's going to be heated. There's going to be people that are upset, and they have a job to do. I have a job to do. They get paid to do their job. I get paid to do my job, and you have to be able to execute. And everyone's held to that same standard. So it's going to be an emotional response when those kind of things happen.
Coach Jeff Mercer, after the loss yesterday, controversial loss, in which the Louisville pitcher tossed in the ninth inning with 2 outs, a 2-2 count, simply for saying, that's horrible. I watched the video. I mean, I was there, but I couldn't. That actually happened. I was walking from one side of the upper deck of the stadium where they had press seating outside because there's so much. And it happened while I was walking around from one side to the other. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And then the Ryan Feynman at bat, which the third strike that was not close to being a strike, ended the game. And then things got a little heated, let's just say. But the coaches handled it well. Now, Casey Dykes may get a letter or something. Very possible. I hope not. Rough, and the funny thing is, we were told during the post-game press conference that the NCAA is going to take a pool reporter in, and they were going to make a statement. All that. And they just type up this goofy statement that said arguing an umpire's call, ejected for blah, blah, whatever it was, pursuant to section yada, 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 blam, blam, blam. They didn't address it. They told us what we already knew. We already knew he got ejected. We knew why. Because that's all that happened. It was a quick trigger by an umpire in the heat of the moment, in the heat of with the game in the balance. Not disappointed, but not surprised by the NCAA. Why would you expect them to do anything more than they've ever done? But I mean, it didn't cost Indiana the game. It cost them a chance, but there's way too many things that happened. They were down. They let Louisville score 9 runs. So, but we're just talking about the fairness of it. And then Louisville lost their closing pitcher for 4 games. I mean, it's not funny in that regard. It's just funny, strange on how much this official affected this tournament with right there in 2 calls. 2 calls he made back to back could have altered the entire NCAA baseball tournament. Louisville won last night 9-2, so they will play again today against Illinois State in Louisville for the right to move forward to they'll be hosting a super regional if they win. The tournament will stay there. I'd said that I before yesterday that I expected Louisville to win the tournament. I knew that they would have to win 3 games, but they're built for it. They are built for it. A lot of other things going on. A lot of basketball in the news. VJ Blackman is returning to the Indiana basketball team. Tim texted in as well saying that looks like we've got 3 walk-ons now with VJ Blackman coming back for his senior year. He was a good player in high school, but he didn't get to show it at IU. Maybe his senior season he can. Maybe this being his last year, maybe he can get some playing time. Well, I think that he probably will get playing time since they only have 10 available scholarship players. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you have walk-ons that are getting playing time, either they were horribly misjudged as a player or you're in some trouble. From a depth standpoint or talent standpoint. Nothing against VJ, just in general about walk-ons. But Indiana is in that position, with right now only having probably 10 scholarship players available. Jerome Hunter is the question mark. And then there are 2 open scholarships. I saw that Alabama just brought in their 7th recruit of the season, a transfer from Villanova.
Is there still time to bring in graduate transfers?
What's that?
Is there still time to bring in graduate transfers?
You know, I don't know that ever changes for a graduate transfer.
Because it seems like Evan Fissner came in pretty late last year.
Yeah, I think that a grad transfer can be added at any time. But Indiana has difficulty, with getting grad transfers because of it's difficult to get them into school. You have to be on track for a grad degree. And then it seems to be a little difficult to just come in and play in Archie's system. But also the Indiana All-Star Juniors played last night. In the next hour, we're going to hear from Trey Galloway and Anthony Leal. They lost to Kentucky. Man, I'm going to sneeze, and I can't stop it. I hate when you know it's coming and you just can't do anything about it. But I think if I talk, I can talk. I think I talked myself out of it. Tim asked, does VJ get a scholarship? You know, that's a great question. That brings up a good point. If those scholarships are not being used and players that are in their last year like VJ, why not give him a scholarship? Give him a scholarship for the year.
Wouldn't mind seeing it.
Well, I mean, why would you not if the opportunity is there? I mean, if it's just sitting there, and maybe they will. Who knows? That's a great point. It sure got me thinking on that side. Very curious as to that. Why would you not go if? Yeah, I'm sure that there are rhyme and reasons for it, but if you're going into the season and obviously nothing's going to change, it doesn't hurt anything. Curious. That's a good question. Glad I thought of it. Thanks, Tim. We'll hear from Trey Galloway, Anthony Leal as the Junior All-Stars played last night. They play again tonight in Jeffersonville. I'm going to sit that one out. Man, I'm worn out. I was in Louisville all weekend with baseball. Ran over there last night for the basketball. You got the juniors playing the seniors on Wednesday in Newcastle. I'll be there for that. Back in Louisville Friday for the All-Star game, and then back in Indianapolis for Saturday. That's plenty. I need some rest, man. Hey, stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up here. Like I said, Jeff Mercer, we'll hear from Coach after yesterday's game. A few other things. We'll hear from Drew Ashley, Matt Lloyd, Trey Galloway, Anthony Leal, a couple of Indiana recruits that were in action yesterday. NBA action. Plenty more. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios with more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway.
Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moyer.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hey, it's Michael Lewis, former Indiana University player and current UCLA assistant basketball coach, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle coming at you. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jake's at the wheel, keeping everything on the track. Lots to get to. Hope you had a great weekend. Ready to get the week started. Whole lot going on over the weekend. The NCAA baseball tournament down in Louisville, Indiana, of course, participating in that. Junior All-Star action over the week last night, also in Louisville. Continues tonight in Jeffersonville in southern Indiana. We'll hear from Trey Galloway and Anthony Leal here shortly. Kentucky beat Indiana, the Junior All-Stars, last night. I think that final was 115-104. As the game went back and forth, and they just the substitution patterns were kind of funky. They were coming in 5 guys at a time, and it just got away from them there at the end. But IU baseball losing to Louisville yesterday in a controversial ending. Louisville jumps out to a big lead. They're up 7-2. Indiana's chipping away, just like they did a few weeks back when they spotted Louisville 6 runs, forcing extra innings in the game they would lose to them in Bloomington. Indiana was looked to making that same comeback. And in the 9th inning yesterday, all kinds of things went sideways. Louisville's pitcher thought he's got Ryan Feynman, the tying run at the plate. Runner at first. And he's got a 2-2 count. And he throws what he thought was strike 3 and just said, that's horrible. Well, the umpire comes behind the plate and tosses him. The pitcher wasn't even looking at him at the time when he got tossed. Dan McDonald, Louisville's coach, on the field, not happy, obviously, because it cost that player a 4-game suspension. That's a whole nother story. But so Louisville has to replace McVane, I can't remember what his name was, but he's from Cathedral in Indianapolis. The next pitch is called a strike that was not even close. Coach Mercer thought that it bounced even. I'm not sure that it bounced, but it was horribly outside and low. No way a strike. But it's called a strike, ending the game. Ryan Feynman was upset. Casey Dykes at first base was upset. Teams eventually had to be separated. There were some words. It was a very heated moment. Tense. It was very tense. It was an elimination game. Louisville loses, they go home. It would have been nice to see what would have happened with the winning run, not necessarily winning because it was the top of the inning, but the lead run would have been at the plate had that walk been granted as it should have been. And actually, that pitcher probably stays in the game because they were getting to him a little bit. It's hard to say that when dude was hitting 3 numbers on the radar gun. He's throwing some heat. But, wow, what a finish. Talked to Coach Jeff Mercer afterwards at the postgame. Let's hear what he had to say about the end of the season and also about the bizarre sequence that happened there at the end.
It's been a great year. You look at what this group was able to accomplish. You look at guys like Matt and Drew. We were preseason 4th or 5th in the conference. Lost a couple really key players in the draft last year. Lost a couple really good returning players to injury. And lost our Sunday starter to an injury. Had two new starters on the weekends, and we started 5 freshmen and sophomores every day. And these guys just went out and they worked their butt off. And they invested and they bought into a new coaching staff and a different system. They worked really hard. They believed when there wasn't a lot of reason to necessarily from a preseason expectation standpoint, and new guys not knowing them, and they went out and achieved so many wonderful things. They did so many great things. We're just very thankful. I know our coaching staff is. I know personally, my family and I are, and we'll never be able to repay the debt that we owe to guys like Maddie. I'll spend the rest of my life and never be able to repay that debt, and certainly our program never will. We'll never forget the guys that we're moving on. So just very appreciative and very thankful and just very proud overall.
particularly that last pitch and kind of how that all unfolded.
I don't know what was said between their pitcher and the umpire, and it's not my place to speak on what was said, what caused the immediate ejection, and that umpire will have to answer to that. But the reality, and you can look at the video. Like I'm a subdued guy. I'm pretty level-headed. Our first base, both of our base coaches are very level-headed, subdued guys. I mean, the pitch just bounced. So you can look at the video. I'm not saying something that's untrue or controversial, and it bounced. So when you have a game like this with obviously so much on the line, so much at stake, and you make a call like that to end guys' careers, some of these guys in their baseball career period, and some of these guys in their college careers move on to the next level. It's going to be heated. There's going to be people that are upset, and they have a job to do. I have a job to do. They get paid to do their job. I get paid to do my job, and you have to be able to execute. And everyone's held to that same standard. So it's going to be an emotional response when those kind of things happen.
Coach Jeff Mercer talking about the end of the season and all the things that happened afterwards. He was later asked if he had any recourse about that call, and he talked about potentially talking to the tournament directors and all that. But it's neither here nor there. But made a good story at the time. We also got a chance to catch up with Drew Ashley in the post game afterwards. Drew hit the ball really well this weekend in Louisville. He ended up playing right field because Matt Gorski got hurt his hand, and that shifted. They wanted to keep Wisely, Drew's bat, in the lineup. So they moved him to right field, moved Grant Richardson over to center, and put Cade Bennell at second. A couple of errors at second base this weekend led to a run here and there, but let's hear what Drew had to say.
As a whole, obviously working with the new guys. It was tough at the beginning, but made adjustments, and just very proud of myself and the whole team. So.
Oh, Matt, you guys got down early, but you kept coming back, kept scoring runs, keeping yourself in the game. What is it about this group that allowed them throughout the weekend to be resilient like that?
I think it just comes down to character, never saying die, and just fighting tooth and nail to the very last pitch, every single pitch of the game. So.
After the final out, the two teams had to be separated. Was something said between you?
I just think it was the heat of the moment. Questionable call, and tension was high, and just emotions boiled over a little bit. And yeah.
Go ahead.
As Matt, Coach talked about the buy-in, singles you out specifically. I know you've had a really good year, but just what do you think it is about Coach's approach and his staff's approach that allowed you, maybe at least in the eyes of the conference, to overachieve this season, and maybe how does that get carried forward?
Just the character of our staff, Coach Mercer especially. It's just easy to trust what they're saying, and everybody on the team was willing to work with them and buy in, and you saw that how far it carried us, and we were just that close today too. So just the character of the coaching staff, just unbelievable, and just so easy to trust what they're talking about.
Awesome. Drew, it's obviously a long way away. This season just ended, but going forward, heading into next season, what can you guys take away from this experience in Louisville this weekend?
Well, I think you saw it the whole season. We just got better and better as the season went. We didn't start off super great, and then as the season went on, we just got stronger, went back to work every single day. So I'm pretty confident in saying that'll continue next year, and we'll just continue to build off what we started this year.
Andy?
I'm just wondering, you guys got down to Louisville 6-0 in the regular season game. It
for Dexter. And was that mentioned today in the dugout? Were you guys talking about that? Like, hey, we know we can come back on these guys.
I just think that that's something that's always a possibility for us. You saw against Illinois State too. We were down. What was the score? We were down, but like we're never out of the ball game. Like that's the whole mindset.
Drew, you played second base almost the entire season. Of course, the injury caused a change, but you hit the ball really well here in Louisville. Did that play into any type of rejuvenation for you, refocus, changing positions?
Not really. I just try to compete everywhere I can. I pride myself on being able to play all over the field, and so that way we have the most flexibility, get the right guys in there, and coach can make the lineup the best he can to give us the best chance to win a ball game.
Boy, you can tell who was sitting closest to the microphone. Booming in loud and clear. That was Matt Lloyd and Drew Ashley, the players that were available after the game, talking about everything involving the loss to Louisville. But moving on now to basketball, the Indiana Jr Allstars were in action last night, as I said, taking on Kentucky. They lost down in Louisville at Mercy Academy, 115-104. 5 players were in double figures. Kyron Powell had a nice dunk. We had a chance to catch up to Trey Galloway and Anthony Leal afterwards, a couple of IU recruits. Let's hear what Anthony Leal had to say.
Yeah, it was good to finally actually see everything as far as like athlete living and where they live, the nutrition stuff and the academic stuff and all that kind of stuff. So it was good to finally get up close and personal look at that kind of stuff.
Is that kind of stuff that maybe, like, I know you've been there a few times, but you'd never really seen maybe some of that more just kind of fundamental stuff before?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've obviously been around the town and all that kind of stuff. I've been to call and stuff like that, but that was my first time getting to see like what it actually would be like in the life of an athlete coming to IU, so it was definitely really fun.
What's new recruiting-wise for you? The last time we talked, Virginia had been in contact.
Yeah, I'm going to Cincinnati on the 11th for an unofficial. I'm not sure what day that is. I think it's like Tuesday, but I'm going over there. And then Virginia Tech reached out as well, so that's the next contacts.
Are you going to the NBA Top 100 camp?
I don't think so.
What do you have planned for June as far as camps or even schools?
Just getting better with my high school team, getting ready, trying to win state for next season.
Which your high school compete in some of the stuff in June?
Yeah, the IU team came up, Charlie Hughes, annual shootout, whatever it's called, and then just a couple league games.
What's it like getting to share this experience with Trey? I know you guys play on Indiana Elite together, so you're used to being around each other, but different setting. What's that experience been like?
I mean, it's special. Just we're really close. We have that kind of chemistry on the court, but we're both pretty ticked off that we just lost it.
You guys talk to each other, given that your visits to IU matched against each other about the whole thing?
Yeah, and I mean, I live in Bloomington, so I use in Bloomington. So that's for visiting there, but yes, we talk a lot with each other.
From a recruiting standpoint, what stands out? What are you looking for when you're going through this process?
I'm looking for coaches that have a plan for me as far as a player and being able to develop and get to the next level. And then
anything different about the way you view IU? Is it just another school?
I mean, I definitely view it differently just because I grew up there and I grew up a fan and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to it, it's about trying to find out where I'm going to fit in best and where I'm going to be able to grow most as a player and as a person. So,
have you thought about like how this process is going to work from here in terms of taking officials in the fall and like a timetable when you actually want to make a decision?
Yeah, as far as timetable, I'm definitely going to get this all kind of done with before the high school season starts, so I can just focus on our goal to stay. So I just want to be able to focus on that and winning games with my team. But I'm definitely going to take some officials in the fall and later on in the summer, but I have nothing planned.
Which I know you did some junior year officials. You saw Stanford. Was there any others?
That was my only official. The rest were unofficial.
Okay.
Have you played with Nigel Pack before, and just talk about what that's been like?
Yeah, up until this year we played AU together, and we've got some chemistry and we have that connection, so it's good. I like playing with Nigel.
For sure, but how hard was it tonight? Just kind of the lineups shifting in and out 5 guys. It seemed like there was some that worked better than others. Is that something the coach talked about going in that was going to happen?
I mean, he didn't really talk about it, but it's just part of the game. I mean, it's an all-star game, so it's expected that we're going to try to let everyone play and all that kind of stuff. And whether or not I like it, I mean, I'd rather just sub to win and leave dudes in. If they're playing well, take dudes out or not. But it's all about the experience, and everyone wants to be able to play with that name across their chest. So I definitely understand how we did the subs.
Thank you.
That was Anthony Leal. After yesterday's loss to Kentucky, the Indiana Jr All-Star game, they play again tonight down in Jeffersonville at Jeffersonville High School. And then Wednesday up in Newcastle, they take on the seniors in a pretty cool spot to be. Newcastle, of course, home of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. And then Friday and Saturday, the Senior All-Stars will be happening. We'll give you complete coverage. I'm not going to the game tonight. I need a break. But we'll beat everything else. But we also had an opportunity to talk to Trey Galloway, who is also, both of these guys are being recruited heavily by Indiana. Both have been offered by Indiana. They've been to Indiana this week or in the last week.
What did you learn on your official in Indiana?
A lot. I got to spend quality time with the coaches, just a lot of time with their whole staff, and it was good just to get some personal time with them, with me and my family. And so kind of just hanging out with them, and I got to hang out with Armand and Trace a little bit, and kind of get to see where they live and stuff like that. Kind of just learn a little bit more about the program. They just told me just the way they play, and just like the way they see me fit into the program for sure. So.
You talked about these visits being about seeing stuff just kind of beyond the game day experience.
Yeah.
You'd seen that at some of these different places,
Yeah.
but that it was about seeing kind of everything else. Just what was your impression of Indiana, maybe everything that doesn't go into game day, I guess?
I mean, just where they live is incredible. It's a nice place where they live. But like you said, just getting away from the game. Obviously, I've been to a couple games where they've played, but just kind of see just out of season stuff, just the lifting. Met with the strength coach. He's a great guy. So kind of just some other stuff that's the daily life and what they do outside of basketball. So it's good to see that.
What are you looking for, and what stood out on the trip visited by you?
I mean, one thing I'm looking for is just a family environment with just guys that be around guys that want to win. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to is being around great coaches that just care for the players. And I think they for sure have that thing going there. And Coach Miller, he's really competitive, and so I think that's one thing we kind of compare with each other is our competitiveness. And he wants to win, I want to win. So it was good just to talk with them and just hear their side of things.
Any visits set up for the rest of the month? Are you going anywhere soon?
I haven't really planned it yet. My family and I are going to talk about it a little bit more. But right now, no, because I got this Indiana All-Star stuff right now. So I'm looking through that, and then I think once things kind of clear up in mid-June, I'll start to plan some more.
So this was counted as a junior year official visit, so you could still take another one to IU. Did you take any other junior year officials?
Yeah, I took one in the fall to Iowa.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody else kind of been in touch?
Yeah.
Recently?
Georgetown, Notre Dame, a little bit Kansas, Michigan State, Cincinnati. So those are California too. So those are the main ones right now that are staying in contact with me. So.
What do you like about Notre Dame? It's like close to home.
Like you said, close to home. Coach Bray, really good guy. So I've been around. I've been up there like 3 or 4 times in the fall. So I got places to pick up with their guys, and so those are probably the guys I've been most kind of just been with them the most. But other than that, just like I said, Coach Bray and just how close it is too. So.
Is it all Culver team stuff in June for you after this?
I'll have Culver team stuff at the end of the month, and then I think we have some here coming up in a couple of days. But like I said, the end of the month, and then I think I'm doing one of the top 100 camps.
The result isn't what you wanted tonight, but that aside, just the experience of playing alongside Anthony. Obviously, you guys are on the same AAU team, but different environment, different setting, that sort of thing.
Yeah. It was good. Just playing with all the guys out here because everyone's really talented, and it's just good to see all the guys that can play really well. Obviously, we got off to a great start, but we didn't play very well towards the end. But with our talent, I think we can pull away and just got to move it a little bit more in those games. But once we get a feel for each other, I think we'll start to play a little bit more with more pace and stuff like that. So tomorrow will be fun to see where we're at.
Have you thought about the plan in terms of recruiting process when you want to make a decision in terms of, and then also official visits in the fall? Is that something you want to do as well?
I'll have to see. Whatever it feels. I'm not going to set a time or like I said, set a time where I'm going to commit. It's just whenever I feel is the right moment to commit. But if I need to take some officials in the fall, I'll do that. But like I said, whenever the time comes, that's when I think I'll decide to commit.
Do you feel like you and Anthony could play together in college?
Yeah, I think so. Sure.
Have y'all had any talks about that? What it would be like?
Yeah, we talk a little bit, not much, but when we do talk about it, we just talk about where he's thinking about going, where I'm thinking about going. But other than that, it's not really like that. We kind of just talk about other stuff than just basketball, for sure.
Can you tell us where you think about going?
I don't know. There's like I said, the schools are recruiting me. I'm just interested. So,
how important is it for you and the guys in that locker room to have some type of bounce back tomorrow?
It's important. Obviously representing the state of Indiana, it's a big accomplishment to be out here to be able to play. So I think we got to play a lot harder than what we did today because just showed that they wanted it more than us, obviously, because they came out and they tried to really beat us, and so we.
What happened at the end of that first half? You guys were up something like 19, and then
we're up 21 actually, and then they kind of went on a run. We didn't rebound. They had 21 offensive rebounds the whole game, so we for sure didn't rebound like we should have. But they had a little bit of a slide advantage, but that doesn't really mean anything. We still got to find a way to box out and get rebounds for sure. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trey.
Trey Galloway, after yesterday's Indiana-Kentucky All-Star game, talking about all things recruiting, where he stands. Kind of a funny moment there when he was talking about him and Anthony talking about where they're going. I'm like, you want to tell us?
That was a very diplomatic answer by him. That was pretty impressive on the
fly. It was funny. Yeah, it was just a good funny moment. We're doing those stupid interviews. Not stupid interviews, but those interviews in a stupid hallway, a school hallway. So you can imagine when the acoustic's not exactly optimal. It's like being in, a rotunda somewhere where someone across the way can talk and it bounces off the rotunda ceiling. You can hear it clear as day. Those institutional floors sound sure does bounce in there. But a couple of great conversations with a couple of IU basketball recruits and Anthony Leal and Trey Galloway. They're in action again tonight down in Jeffersonville as they will take on Kentucky in the back half of that 2-game series. And then Wednesday they take on the seniors in Newcastle. And then Friday the seniors take the stage down at Bellarmine University College in Louisville. And then Saturday back to Bankers Life Fieldhouse for the grand finale between the seniors on Friday and Saturday. But we have more coverage this week. We'll be out there on Wednesday. We'll talk to, who all we can get to. It's just, I'd like to have talked to a lot more guys. It's hard to get to them all. I'm only one man, Jake.
Can only do so much.
Can only do so much. But yeah, man, I wish we could maybe start take a lot shorter conversations and get to more guys. But we got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Indiana's new wrestling coach, Angel Escobedo. You think he's not making a difference? He's a champion, Indiana's only former national champion. He's got the 16th ranked recruiting class coming in to Indiana. That's not bad. Not bad at all. We'll talk to Angel when we come back. We got more on from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat. Back with more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
In the dark, if I kill a man.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle with you as always, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, and we are very fortunate to be joined by Angel Escobedo, the new head wrestling coach at Indiana. Angel, thank you so much for your time, first of all.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations on getting the head coaching position at Indiana. I know it has to be pretty cool for someone who went to school at a place to become the head coach there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lifelong dream, to come back to your alma mater and really just want to take this program to new heights. I just want to accomplish something that's never been done before, and that's just kind of my personality, and that's what I'm really driven for.
You are a champion, an NCAA champion, the only one Indiana's ever had, but and that's an earned title on the mat. How much pressure does that put on you to elevate Indiana to that level, coming from where you have achieved personally?
Yeah, I don't know about pressure, but I think it's a goal of mine that I had. Even when I was an athlete, the goal was really high, and the determination, the dedication that it takes. I think I'm just translating it now to a different chapter of my life, and that's in coaching. So, when I was an athlete, I never had pressure because it was like almost an expectation for me, just the personality that I have. So, just coming up from Gary, Indiana, I kind of appreciate the things that are in front of me because not a lot of people, get to the level that I'm at from my area. So I take it day by day and, just try to accomplish as much as I can with the things that are kind of set in front of me.
There's no tough people that come out of Gary, Indiana, are there?
No, right?
Being over at the new building for volleyball, you see things. I look up and I look at the banners and I'm like, wow, Indiana was actually pretty dominant in wrestling in the Big Ten before World War II.
Yeah.
And then it just goes away. But, there is history, although it's a long time ago. It is history, but it's there. What is it going to take to revive that at a school that has been dormant for so long?
Yeah, I think when you think about Indiana wrestling as a state, it's one of the best states in the country. So just being able to attack the recruits in state, getting neighboring states, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, getting their best kids into this institution, and then developing them. That's what's going to set us to the next level.
And we're joined by Zoe.
Yeah,
Don't be
Zoe.
afraid. Coach Escobedo's daughter. We're fortunate to be able to have it's a double dip today, so we're very fortunate to have Zoe with us as well. But
Yeah.
Recruiting is the lifeblood for any program, of course. And again, to build what you're trying to build is going to take recruiting.
Right.
The 16th recruiting class in the country right now. How is that possible? How you
My
just come in and
my
do
staff is just relentless in the recruiting trail. They're everywhere. Whether it's running practices, in Indiana or Illinois or Ohio, and just knocking down on everybody's door. Are you interested in Indiana? And reaching out, calling other coaches, building relationships. So we're relentless. Every single day we're making recruiting calls. And, we want to show everybody in the country what Indiana has to offer and continue to get the best recruits that we can.
Most programs, or all programs, they like to build the base or the core from the state where they're in and bring those guys back. What is the recruiting base in the state of Indiana like from wrestling?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's really, really good. We always have the top level recruits in the country, ranked number 1, number 2 in their weight class. We probably have 3 to 4 guys each year. So when you're talking in that kind of aspect, you're like, if I could get the best kid in Indiana, he's going to be ranked in the nation. So then that would translate into college wrestling where, you're getting All-Americans, you're getting national champs. So it's really important for us to identify those guys and then get them on campus and get them signed because once you get one, you'll start to get them all. I think of Asa Garcia. He was a 3-time state champion, took 3rd the other year he didn't win state. A big name like that opens the door to get all these other kids. And then you saw we signed, 3 2-time state champs after Asa Garcia signed. So it was just like kind of a snowball effect. You had a guy that kind of changed the trajectory of our recruiting trail, Asa Garcia, and now everybody else is following suit. So it was really important to get that guy. And looking forward, it's like we identify, all right, the junior class, who's that kid that's going to change that dynamic where other kids are going to follow? Sophomore class, freshman class, and then we just wait till when we can contact them, and then we do.
Albeit it's at a high school level, but I went to Floyd Central, and I remember when I was in school, we didn't really have a big-time program before a guy named Dave Capel took over. And, you could tell, it was from there on, they were ranked every year.
Yeah.
So you can see the difference a coach makes. And there's programs around the state, Modern Day, in
yep.
Evansville. There are lots of great places to draw from. But when you build Indiana up, is that also going to help build up some of these high school programs that they follow suit?
Yeah, I would hope so. I think it's going to go hand in hand. When you have a kind of a premier institution in the state, the elevation it goes even higher for high school level because those kids have to be top notch to get into this program. So, they're going to have to step up their game to be able to be recruited by us. So it's going to be great for the state of Indiana. I think the better that we do, the better Indiana State wrestling does, and overall that just helps the sport. And that's what I'm about, growing the sport as best as I can.
Competing in the Big Ten, obviously no easy task. You've got some programs. You were at Iowa, one of the premier iconic programs of wrestling, Penn State, those kind of programs. What is it going to take, obviously recruiting in that, but to really get to that level, what's it going to take?
Yeah, I think year by year, just continue to improve. Last year, we went to the Big Ten projected to only score 8 points at the Big Ten championships. We ended up scoring 33 or 31. So doing things like that, improving as a team aspect, getting guys on the podium, getting guys to win Big Ten titles, and then, knocking down on these doors of other Big Ten programs that are, the Penn States, Ohio States. I don't see why not. Why can't we be one of those top programs?
Absolutely. What new coaches come into a program, they usually have a time frame, like an architectural drawings for a building. What's your architectural drawing for this program?
Yeah, so I think, I always told my guys, my staff, we're not going to measure ourselves by the accolades that we achieve. We're going to measure ourselves at how much we can grow this program and, how good we can be from day to day. So I think when I'm looking at my, whether it's a 2-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, all the way down, I'm looking to consistently put this program in a top 10 program. A top 10 program, finish in the upper half of the Big Ten conference year in and year out. And so right now we're a ways away, but at the same time, I think we're pretty close in the grand scheme of things, So I think with this recruiting class, we get another good recruiting class, you mesh them together, and now you got something special. So that's our next step for us. So we already knocked down one door. Now we got another one with trying to get another recruiting class to kind of mesh it all together.
And for sports like football, where that we're talking years because you've got so much to turn around, and other sports are able to turn around quicker. Do you have a time frame where you think that you could get it to where you want it to be?
I mean, it's kind of hard to pinpoint an actual year,
Hey, man, got to put some pressure on.
Right? But I think, I think to see big improvements, a lot of people seen it in just this first year. I think we're going to continue to see improvements next year as well. And then, when that recruiting class, when they redshirt, they're probably going to redshirt, most of them. But then once they step in the lineup, I would tend to see that we are making a huge improvement. I think 2021, 21, 22, we're talking about getting in the upper half of the Big Ten. I would like to see and chasing the top 20 in the NCAAs and maybe getting close to top 10 eventually around that time period, because we have some transfers that came in that are pretty tough. So they'll be seniors when the freshmen come in our wrestling. So they'll kind of mesh together and create a great team. So
the Big Ten, as I said, are obviously one of the toughest as it gets when it comes to wrestling. What do you foresee this upcoming season? What you guys may be able to do there?
Yeah, I think we're up in the challenge. This year is because we lost 5 seniors. That's always hard to replace. So I think it's going to take us some adjustment period time and having some other guys step up. But I think that we have Paul Conrad. He's a returner. We also have Jake Kovach. He's a returner, that NCAA qualifier. I think those guys can do really well in the Big Ten NCAAs and get us even better than what we were this year. So I don't think we're going to do worse, but I think that there's still room to grow, and we're going to grow in the right direction.
I talked earlier about having a new building. What does that mean for you, for the program? I mean, everyone likes to have new locker rooms and all that stuff, and that's kind of going around, and it's got to be helpful to show new recruits and to bring in an audience and to bring in, because that also, you want the home court advantage if you're at home.
Yeah, I think Wilkinson Hall made a huge difference in recruiting, in our game atmosphere, in the way that our guys competed. I mean, they competed with a spark that I've never seen before. Just going from the U Gym to Wilkinson Hall. So I think moving forward, that's the expectation, is competing at a high level in this new arena that we can call home. And for recruits, they walk in this building and they're like, I get to wrestle here. And then they visualize. They visualize walking through the tunnel, coming through fire, wearing an Indiana singlet. And then they're like, this is my home. This is my place. I want to do it for my state. So that's big time. That's hard to recreate in someone's mind. So for us to be able to do that, I mean, that changes everything, the dynamic of our program.
Is that a step to turning Indiana into one of those elite programs of the Big Ten?
Yeah, I think when you look at Ohio State, Penn State, you always hear facilities. Well, now we have facilities. You know, we got a new coaching staff, we have facilities, we have the wrestlers, so why not be a Big Ten program? We're on the rise. So we got it all, now we just got to put in the work.
Coach, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you to you and to Zoe. Appreciate you joining us today. Thank you, guys. We'll be back with more here on Indiana Sports Beat from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make it tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Hope your day's golf to a good start. If not, hopefully you got it headed in that direction. Man, what a loaded show it's been today. We've heard from Trey Galloway, Anthony Leal, Coach Jeff Mercer from the Indiana baseball team, Drew Ashley, Matt Lloyd. VJ Blackman is returning to Indiana, it looks like. Great question, and kind of born out of a text from Tim earlier. Why not use one of those scholarships for him if it works out that way? Maybe that's something that's in the planning. I don't know. The Junior All-Stars were in action last night, as you heard from Trey Galloway and Anthony Leal just a little bit ago. They returned to action tonight at Jeffersonville, trying to avenge last night's 115-104 loss. A game that just kind of, it got away from them. It was back and forth. They were right there, and they actually had a big lead early on. The substitution pattern is 5 at a time. I'm not sure that that's a good thing. Kentucky got their best 5 back in, and it was a few minutes before Indiana could get their guys in, and they paid the price. But they're in action tonight. I won't be there, but complete coverage for the rest of the week. Wednesday up at Newcastle, the juniors and seniors will play, and then Friday and Saturday are the senior all-star games back down in Louisville and Indianapolis. Ran into Lance Stemler over the weekend, former Hoosier basketball player. Was out in New Albany Saturday after the Indiana's win in baseball, waiting for the game the next day, yesterday's game. But ran into Lance and found out he's recently been named associate head coach at Providence High School in Southern Indiana. So kind of a cool thing. He's looking forward to it. He's stoked. I'm sure he's going to do an excellent job, man. He's a tactician. We have him on all the time, and he really breaks it down. We appreciate him coming on and look forward to talking to him soon, especially about the new endeavor. So good luck to Lance. And you
have
got
to ask him about Providence's offense, if they still run the same offense that they ran whenever I played them in high school. It was they used to like hold the ball out near half court for about 45 seconds until they started running a play.
Small ball, man.
Pretty much, and it was the worst to play against because you want to play, and
it was like playing the 4 quarters from Dean Smith or the dude from Princeton. Can't think of his name. Golly, but he ran that stalling tactic game.
Well, it wasn't even. They didn't really like pass the ball or anything. I mean, it was just. They held it. I mean, there was just nothing really that you could do. I mean, it was just... That's why I'm in favor of a shot clock at the high school level.
Yeah, that's coming. I mean, there's no doubt the change is coming. Just like beer sales that are coming to Memorial Stadium. They'll at some point they'll be coming to Assembly Hall and the BART. That's one of the things that was going on all day during the NCAA tournament. The beer was flowing. They had guys, vendors walking around, and there were no issues. I mean, because we were seated outside. They had auxiliary media, which was cool in one way. I love being outside at a game, any game, or the football game and baseball, definitely. At Bart Kaufman, the press box windows don't open. A lot of the times, the press box windows are open, so you can alleviate that by simply opening the window. But so it was nice to be outside, except for there was this Louisville fan who just felt like he needed to park right behind me and clap with this really loud clap. When you really hit a good clap. He had it down and was clapping like a 12-year-old. And, man, I was like, dude, thinking, you are wearing me slick. But other than that, it was good to be outside.
enjoyed the that was cool. They had sunscreen for everybody. It was funny. They took great care. The Louisville people took good care of the media, except for we didn't have Wi-Fi out there. But yeah, they had sunscreen out there, ready to go at all times. Spray or lotion, whichever you prefer. But
variety's nice.
Hey, having it was nice. I looked over at poor Stu from Rivals, and I'm thinking he must be bathed in it because he's very fair-skinned. Stu Jackson, I'm talking about. And I'm thinking he must be bathed in it because he's just sitting over there and fair-skinned and whatnot. And then later I see him. No, he's like, I forgot they didn't have sunscreen out yesterday. And I'm like, I couldn't believe he didn't have it on. He got lobstered up a little bit. I saw him. It was funny. A lot of us were down in Louisville all weekend covering the NCAA tournament with Indiana, and then raced over to catch the ball game last night, the juniors. Zach Osterman was there. Stu, like I said, Mike Miller, Mike. Same crew, but got a lot more to bring you this week because the Junior All-Stars play tonight. Not going to cover that game, but they play on Wednesday, and we'll be there for that to bring you some more interviews, talk to as many guys as we can get to. Recruiting, man. I don't think they're going to fill those final two holes, so everything is gearing towards this class. Indiana baseball team needs to shore up. If you listen to the entire Jeff Mercer interview, which I have posted, I think I posted it on both Twitter and Facebook at Jim Coyle ISB, Indiana Sports Beat, of course. You can find it there. But he talks about what Indiana needs to do, about how they've got to match these teams athlete for athlete. Like teams like Louisville. Louisville's a great example of a program that was built. They're not a Sun Belt state. They're one of the outliers in college baseball that's not in that Sun Belt that exceeds consistently. Dan McDonald's done a great job there. They've done a great job of holding on to him. That's a big reason. But he does a heck of a job. But Indiana that's a program Indiana would love to model after, the success that they've had. But Coach Mercer talked about it in the post that got to match these guys athlete for athlete. As good as the season that they had, and as the players that they have, they've got to develop more and continue to recruit at a higher level. That's just what it takes, man. That's what it takes. Some of the players on the U of L team, they would be on the IU team, maybe. I mean, the dude that got tossed yesterday, he's from Cathedral, McVeigh. But I hope you enjoyed the show today. It was packed, man. Holy cow. So much. Got plenty more coming tomorrow. Mike Schumann will be with us. And we'll see what else we can scare up. But thanks a lot for Jake for keeping us on the track. Look forward to doing it again tomorrow. This is Jim Coyle, Indiana Sports Beat from the Golf Company Eagle Point Studios, and I'll see you on the radio.